Hey, here's a little texture primer. I've got text on a solid background. And for a lot of you, this is something similar to your banned Books Week posters. But here is that same text. If I turn all this off and scroll down, turn those two on, you can see it's the exact same thing. So turning these layers back on, you can experiment and get all kinds of great things happening. So pretend this is your poster, and then I've linked you to some textures, and this texture happens to be in landscape mode. If you need it in portrait, if you need it taller than it is wide, just go Image, Canvas Rotation, and then rotate it depending upon the way. Say I wanted this bottom part to be on the left, well, I'd rotate it clockwise. Okay, but for my needs, I don't need it turned on its side because I have a portrait layout. So I'm going to grab this here in Photoshop. I'm going to hit the letter F. You can see this is that full screen mode I want you guys in, and this is that next one where all the menus disappear. This first one where we can see the different tabs, this is how it's going to work. Click with the Move tool, the uppermost tool, click right on the image, hold down the mouse, and I'm dragging it up. I'm dragging it up to this other file, and I'm going to hold down Shift and let go. And then it's going to tell me possibly that your destination's different, the color space, and just say OK. Now, how big is this image? Now for you, these images will probably be smaller than your document. If I hit Command T to transform and then zoom out, you can see that this is much larger than the image I'm working on. Yours may be smaller, and I'm going to tell you in the future not to stretch the pizza, not to make these images larger than they are, but for a texture, they're very forgiving. I'm going to grab a corner, and in this case, I'm going to hold down Option to resize from the center, Shift to constrain proportions, and you see I can get it right to that length. But then if I want to get the whole texture, I can hold down Option again, drag this in, and then hit Return. Now you're probably going to be upsampling. I was downsampling. So here is my texture that's been placed on top of these two, the two layers here. All I'm going to do is cycle through blending modes, and I know where I'm going to end up, or most likely. Make sure you're still on the Move tool, hold down Shift and click on plus. It's right after the numerals and the plus and the equal sign, and this is going to drop you through the different blending modes. And I'll let you experiment with this. I'm going to go back up to multiply and say I like this, but it's a little too dark. Well, just pull the opacity back a little bit. Take that opacity down and play with this. Now, as you noticed, I played around with a lot of other things here to get some additional effects that I wanted to play with and experiment with. For now, I'm just going to leave you right here where you can see a little bit of texture changes something ordinary into something a little more interesting.